Engine 1 from Car 1. Car 1's on scene at Subin Command. Give me a C.A.N report.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Goldstein, Stickers of the C.A.N report. Nozzle Tov, everybody. We're bringing Florida up to New Hampshire here. We've got Logan Broberg of the Rogue Firemanship. I am pumped. I'm pumped to have Logan on here. I've been following him, man, for a while, like a stalker, dude. I literally have been following you for quite some time, and I just love everything you're doing. Obviously, I got your hat. I got your shirts. I follow your workout plans, and I just needed to get you on here because you deliver everything that we encompass. You bring it home, and a lot of people know who you are, but some don't, and that's why I want you on here. I want you to talk about you, talk about Rogue Firemanship, and talk about how, mediocrity and fitness and everything that you hold dear. So we're going to get into it. Logan Broberg on the C.A.N report, Rogue Firemanship. Brother, thanks for being on.
What's going on, guys? My name's Logan. I'm a fireman in the Central Florida area. I work for a small department called Kissimmee Fire Department, and I'm currently a lieutenant there. And I have 11 years total in the fire service, but 10 currently in the city of Kissimmee. And I just made a lieutenant back in September, so I'm pretty stoked about that. Been loving it. Got a young, motivated crew, and it's been super fun. And just to dive right into it, like I said, been on the job 11 years. Grew up down in South Florida and relocated up to Central Florida for the job because back when I was trying to get a job, it was pretty competitive. So you kind of just went anywhere that would pretty much give you your first shot. And I'm not sure what it's like up in New Hampshire, but down here, you kind of have to pay your way to get certified. So you have to go through fire school and EMT school on your own. And at the time, there were really no like sponsorships or anything like that. So you go on your own, you get certified, you go and then apply to any departments that are open. And depending on what their testing process is, you may have to take a written. And then if you pass the written, you take their physical agility test and then an interview. And then if you're lucky enough, you get selected. So it took me about a little over a year and a half, almost 2 years out of fire school before I got picked up. I was in medic school and got picked up in my last semester of medic school. So they let me graduate a few weeks early. Came up to Kissimmee. They gave me my first shot and been there pretty much ever since.
Nice, dude. Love it. And you're married. You got kids?
Yep. I'm married to my awesome wife, Lindsay, and I have a 19-month-old baby girl.
Congratulations.
She's been giving us a run for our money.
Yeah, if you ever need to get into fitness, just have a kid, dude. They keep you on your toes. They keep you active.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's awesome. So up here, we say Kissimmee. So how do you say it?
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. Okay.
So we make the joke like, oh, if it's after midnight, then you can say Kissimmee. But I tell people it's whatever, man. It's the same thing. And then it's kind of weird. So the way the city is, it's only about 17, 18 miles square wide. But out in the county area, they'll still call parts of that Kissimmee, even though it's not technically the city. And then a lot of people think I work for Disney. Because Disney's not too far away, and around Disney property is, they say, Kissimmee. But I'm actually, like, my station's like 30, 40 minutes from the park. So I'm nowhere near Disney, and they have their own fire department.
Right, Reedy Creek, right?
It used to be called Reedy Creek. Now they rebranded, and it's called the District.
Okay, yeah, that's news to me.
That was back when DeSantis and Disney were butting heads, and I don't know, something happened. They changed the name, but it's still the same department.
Gotcha. Okay, all right, yeah. The District. All right, and you said you grew up in Florida?
Yep, I grew up right outside of West Palm, a small town called Loxahatchee. Most people have never heard of it, but it's 30 minutes out of West Palm, so I just tell them West Palm. I grew up in West Palm, South Florida, and pretty much grew up, normal childhood. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a cop, so kind of a blue-collar type family. My dad, he had a construction side business doing masonry work, so he had me doing that during the summers, and I knew growing up I definitely didn't want to work in construction.
I tried roofing once, dude, and I didn't like it. And I also didn't like landscaping.
Those dudes are hardcore, man.
Yeah, so I can't do that stuff, dude. Like, especially like, because we all have side jobs, right? Like, and one of the biggest side jobs is roofing, landscaping, concrete, HVAC work, electrical work. And I am not good at any of those. I've tried some of them and I'm not good at it. So now I've got this. So this seems to work for me. But that's awesome, dude. We do kind of do the same thing, like you were talking about, to get in for the fire service in New Hampshire. We have to do it all on our own. There is no, like in Massachusetts, you apply and then they send you to their academy. Here, you have to make your own. You have to pay your own way. You have to. Usually, you can try to get on a volunteer department, and if they have the budget, they'll pay for you to get on the department. Then they'll send you to the Fire 1 and Fire 2, and it's kind of like a farm league. A lot of the volunteer call departments around here, it's like a big farm league. And once you get your foot in the door, then you start applying to the career departments if that's the way you want to go. So it's kind of the same, but you guys have to have your medic down there, right?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Like I said, growing up in South Florida, a lot of the departments down there, it was like you weren't getting hired unless you were a medic.
Yeah.
There were some applications I filled out for firefighter EMT, but I was a 19-year-old kid, man. So honestly, I probably had no business trying to apply for some of these jobs just because I had no life experience. I worked construction with my dad, and then I was a lifeguard at a local water park, a pretty big one down in South Florida called the Rapids. So I never really worked a real, job, and I'm sure it showed in some of my interviews. And you get better. Like after you get told no a bunch of times, you start looking in, like, all right, well, what do I got to do to, make myself more marketable? So I was like, well, I guess I got to go to medic school now. I really didn't want to because obviously I was more into the fire side than the EMS side. But went through medic school, took advantage while I was living at home, and then I was also volunteering for a small one station department called North Palm Beach. And that was super helpful because I was able to get a little bit of experience. Did some rides. You were required to do rides with them. And then every Tuesday night you had drill. And they were super cool, man. We would do either different types of drills or I remember a few times they did like mock interviews for us to help us get hired
Oh, that's smart.
elsewhere. Because that was kind of the deal. Like, hey, we're here to help. They were kind of helping us keep our certs up as far as like your CEUs, and because you only have I think 4 years once you get your fire cert before it expires. And I mean it was taking some guys that long back in the day, I say, to get a job. It was just super competitive. And then it opened up, and once Palm Beach County started hiring and the bigger department started hiring, then it was kind of almost like a free for all. And now especially in the Central Florida area, it's like everybody's hurting, especially if you're a medic. Like I tell these guys, if you're a medic, man, you can pretty
Write
much
your own
write your
ticket.
ticket
Yeah,
anywhere you
dude.
want to go.
It's like that up here too, man. Like it's a medic, man. It's like it's fading. It's difficult and it's hard work, and in this day and age, nobody wants to do that kind of thing. But I'm not saying that, like, I'm not a medic, so like I don't want to do it either. So I don't have the brain power, nor do I have the time to even do that. But man, I always give the most credit in the world to people who are paramedics, because that is not easy. That is a lot of school. That is a lot of time. And to keep up with your certs on that, because it's crazy how that field is always changing. Like the protocols are always updating. All the tools are changing. The monitors are changing, and the way you do IVs and medications. And now they're letting you do more. And like now they're a lot of places now are starting to introduce blood. Like, I mean, I know I couldn't do that stuff. That is just, like medic math. I suck at math. I sit at the table when it comes to do the bill. I use my phone for a tip calculator. I'm that dumb. Like I can't do it. Math, I just cannot wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
So
be honest, math's not my strong suit either, but luckily, there's a lot of they make it kind of pretty easy, man, to be a fire medic. The medical directors, they know how we are. They know it's a critical situation and we're on the street, so they do make it pretty. I don't want to say easy, but they make it user friendly.
yeah.
And if you can think outside the box, then that's really all you need to be able to do. Because as much as I don't really like to talk about EMS, but one of my biggest pet peeves though is like what they call a cookbook medic. And they're just like treating whatever symptoms and vital signs they see, and they're not actually looking at the patient and like using
Yeah.
your critical thinking to figure out what's going on. Like, hey man, this person is not a trauma alert just because their heart rate and respiratory rate are high. They're having an anxiety attack because they just got into a fender bender.
Yeah.
like stuff like that, which I'm sure you see too. So
That's my biggest thing is that we have,
yeah,
there's such good medics out there, but some of them are just so ingrained into the medical terminology and medical world that they forget they're talking to a patient who has no idea what you're saying. And then you start dropping all the medical terminology, and that person is just literally laying in the stretcher, just looking at you going, I don't know what this person just said. And usually I'll be like the interpreter. He's going to give you an IV, or he's checking your temperature. You might have high blood pressure, like all those terminologies they're using. I'll try to break it down because I'll be like, I don't speak this either. So I'm going to help you understand these words. So that's awesome, dude. So you do love doing medicine. That's great. It is a big part of our field too. Like
I wouldn't. I'll be honest. I don't love it, but it's something I have to do to be good at my job
Yeah.
because it's a requirement for me to be a lieutenant. And there's been a lot of times just with our staffing is where I may be the only medic on the engine.
Right.
So it's one of those things. I'm not passionate about it, but I take pride in my job. So I do try to be good at it, if that makes sense. Like when we do training,
Absolutely.
and the medical, like our medical directors are super hands on with us. They come probably at least once a month, if not more, to do training with us. Like I'm engaged, I'm listening, but I'm not as passionate as I am about the fire stuff. And everybody knows that. They always give me shit. But on calls, like I do what I need to do and help the other medic out on the rescue. That's the other thing too. Down here, we call them rescues, but they're just ambulances that
Gotcha.
have firefighting equipment on them.
Gotcha, man.
So,
Gotcha.
because our department transports as well. So we do it all. We're a one-stop shop, 4 stations, and we got 6 rescues or ambulances, I should say.
Mhm.
3 engines, a squad, which is technically like our heavy, and then a tower truck,
Okay.
and then a
All right.
battalion and a safety lieutenant.
And how many people you have in your department?
So on the line right now, it's give or take 100.
Okay.
So
Nice. Good size.
and we got at my station. So my station and the downtown station, we have 2 ambulances at because of the call volume. So
Gotcha. All
and then
right.
the east and west has 1 on each side.
Yeah, it's kind of how we run. We have 4 stations. Each station has an ambulance as well, and we have 2 quints. One's a tower, one's a straight stick, and we got a tanker and boats and all that good stuff. So,
Nice.
yeah, we cross staff our 3 other stations. So the only thing that stinks is you have to hop off the ladder and get on the ambulance, and you're out of service for maybe about an hour, but it works. So you still get the best of both worlds, still doing truck work or engine work, but you're still doing, medical side of things too. So it's a busy town. So it
Yeah.
sounds a lot like what you got going on. So you said your dad was a cop, and you have anybody in your family in the fire service, or did you just start into this?
Yeah, my uncle on my mom's side, he was a fireman for over 30 years. He retired as a lieutenant.
So did you want to emulate him? Were you close to your uncle, and that's how you kind of started to maybe learn about this and want to grow into this, or was it just something like a childhood dream and you said, you know what, I want to do this?
So I actually, growing up, I always wanted to be a cop.
Like your dad.
And yeah, just like my dad, listening to his stories, hanging out with all his buddies. He was definitely like I could tell he's respected as a leader. He was a sergeant, and he never went higher than that,
Mm-hmm.
just because he didn't want to deal with the politics. And you could tell like he was a true servant leader for his guys. And when I went to his retirement party, you could really tell he was well respected. And then I graduated high school. Kind of was just I wasn't doing nothing. I did a semester at community college, which I wasn't doing great at that. And then I was doing the lifeguard gig during the summer. And he kind of came home one day from getting off shift at the water park, and he just sat me down. And he's like, "Hey, look, here's some EMT paperwork." And he's like, go talk to your uncle and go do a ride. He had a buddy that worked in the same city as him. He's like, go do a ride with Ken, just because it's a little bit closer.
Mm.
And he's like, if you still want to be a cop after that, then I'll respect that decision. But he's like, I really don't want you to be a cop.
Hmm.
He's like, it's not what it used to be. And he could really see, obviously, where it was going. And, fast forward 10 years, I couldn't be more thankful that I'm not a cop. And like,
Wow.
nobody really like pushed any type of career on me
Yeah.
growing up. Like my uncle, I remember going to like, so he worked at a career department down south, and he also worked at a volunteer station down there. And I remember being at the volley house. They'd always have like these Christmas parties and like Easter, hunts and stuff at the fire station. But I don't like it didn't really catch my interest till after high school, if that makes sense. I did a
Yeah.
ride along with my dad's buddy. I went in on a Sunday, helped him check the truck out, and we had lunch and dinner together. We ran a few medical calls and we worked out together. And then after that, I was hooked. I'm like, this is what I want to do, Like, because from my perspective, it's like you're hanging out with the crew, you're getting paid, and they give you an opportunity. I was, pretty fit back. I was into fitness then, even back then. Um, and like you're with a crew, and you get to make a difference basically, whatever type of call you're called to. And because I wrestled in high school, and me and my
Okay.
friends on the wrestling team were really close, so
I
it
was
kind
going to
of felt
ask
like
you
that.
that.
Yeah. So and since then I was hooked. Went straight into EMT school. Right after that, I went to a night EMT school while I was doing a semester of community college, and then went into fire school right after that. I went into fire school the spring of 2013. Came out, did a did another lifeguard stint that summer, and then went into paramedic school that fall because I had done a couple applications, didn't get picked up at any fire departments, and then so at that point I'm like, well, I got to go to school then and just get it done. And then
Yeah.
I got picked up the following year, December of 2014 by Kissimmee, and I was in my last semester of medic school.
That's awesome, dude. Wow. Good work. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I was pretty stoked, man. When I actually got the call, and crazy how small of a world this is. So I got the call. I was doing a ride along at Station 42, Palm Beach County, and got the call and I got the job. I'm like, sweet. And I'm like telling the crew, and one of the firemen on the crew is like, oh, I just came from Kissimmee. And he's like, let me tell you all about it. And he had just left Kissimmee to go back down south.
Oh,
And it's just crazy that, because Palm Beach County is a huge department. They're like 40 to 50 plus stations. I think they have, I don't know the exact numbers, but they have over 1,500 to maybe 2,000 firemen. And to get a phone call the same day from a department that a guy just left from was kind of crazy.
yeah.
So
Wow.
it was cool. Yeah.
Meant to be. That's fantastic, dude. So then you got on your department that you're at now, and it seems like you just completely hit the ground running and just loved everything at it. And it seems like you just immersed yourself into the fire culture and the fire service world. Where did the drive come from? Where did this all of a sudden, this obsession, if you will, of physical fitness and standards come from?
So I'll say I've always worked out, but I wouldn't say I was always fit, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, like in high school, I had a pretty big gas tank from wrestling, and because obviously wrestling is a tough sport, and our coach was pretty tough on us. We'd go to the track, basically do the track team's workout, then go and wrestle, for 2 hours and grind it out in the room. And so I was relying on my cardio back then, and then when I graduated and got done with wrestling, I was like, well, I want to get big now. So I did nothing but lifting, did no cardio, and I was young, 19, 20 years old, so could basically pass any fire service type physical test, but let's be honest, that's not really saying much, right? Like
Yeah.
almost anybody could pass those. So I got on the job, same mentality. Now I'm 21 years old, living in downtown Orlando as a young fireman. I'll be honest, my priorities weren't always how they are now, but I was a young fireman, so I was out partying.
That's Orlando,
Uh,
right? Like shit.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, I
live it up.
never like I wouldn't. It never affected my job performance per se, but I did what I needed to do. Got off probation. I happened to be actually at our slowest station for a little bit while I was on probation, and I made the best of it. Did the training that I could. I had an old lieutenant who was well respected, and learned a lot from him. He actually taught me a lot about the deferred compensation plan. And so now I pass that on to all these new guys like, hey, as soon as you get on, put 10% into your deferred comp plan because, when you retire, you'll probably be a millionaire
Yeah.
and you won't miss the money. So I make sure to tell the young guys that. And it wasn't until I got about a year on, I went to the Orlando Fire Conference because our department is really good about they would pay for any fire class up front. You didn't have to worry about tuition reimbursement. You didn't have to worry about anything. All you had to do is fill out paperwork.
Wow.
They pay for it. If it's far away, they'll put you in a hotel room, whatever the case is. So the Orlando Fire Conference is only 30 minutes from my department. Went there, and kind of from then I was hooked. And it reminded me a lot when I was in high school, our coach would make us go to wrestling camps all over Florida, and even you could go to some out of state. And that's what it reminded me of like, when you're in your home department, they can only show you so much, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're on a crew, you're one lieutenant, like let's say your department doesn't do a lot of department-wide training for whatever reason, your crew can only show you so much. And it's
Yeah.
not that they're not trying or that they don't care. But that's what my wrestling coach used to say. He was an older dude. He was in his 60s. He's like, look, you tell us, I can only show you so much about wrestling. Go to these different wrestling camps. You're going to learn from Olympians and D1 level wrestlers, and you may like their style might be better for you, or they may have a better way of explaining a technique. So I never understood people that would talk down to other firemen for going out and taking classes or conferences outside their department because it's like they're just going out to learn.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure some people have ruined it by they come back, guns blazing, and they
Yeah.
say, this is, what we're doing is dumb and this is how we need to do it. And, there has to be a balance. But so, like I said, I went to the Orlando Fire Conference and I'm like, man, this is awesome. You're with like-minded people. I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm taking a forcible entry class from Champo, and
Mike
or Mike
Champo.
Champo, yeah, Mike Champo, and then took an engine hose class from Ray McCormick. Had no idea who they were, and then obviously as years go on, you're like, oh shit, these guys are like, they got real experience, in an urban department, and I think we've been blessed because Florida, I feel like, is it's easy to justify coming down here if you're from out of state to teach because you can kind of make a vacation out of it.
Yeah, man.
So like I've been exposed to a lot of different great instructors throughout my career and just been blessed.
Have
That's kind
you
of always.
have you experienced anybody ever giving you shit for going to conferences? Have you ever heard that?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Like yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing because like I haven't really like I'll get my balls busted here and there. Like you're at work. Like you haven't been to work for like 3 weeks, which is not true. But like they give me shit
Yeah,
because I'll take at certain parts of the season. I'll take a couple shifts off so I can go to some conferences. But I've never. That's just friendly bantering, and friendly ball busting. But I don't think I've ever had anybody like give me complete shit. Or like really like gave me a hard time for attending conferences on a multiple level. And I've heard about it, but I haven't really experienced it myself yet. So has it happened to you personally?
yeah, yeah. So we used to have a bad culture with some of the older officers and senior guys, and it was kind of like so right before I came on, some of the older guys used to tell me that it used to be like a stump the chump culture when you go to training.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a particular individual that was running the training that was his style. And he would just go and make the guys look like shit and basically just be an asshole. Let's just call it what it is, right? And then, he would kind of spread some of that energy to some of the other people. And it was kind of a culture of like, well, if you didn't learn it here, then like it's not worth anything, basically. And I had a really good lieutenant. He's still a mentor of mine. He's a lieutenant on my shift on the truck, but he was my lieutenant for a few years. And I always used to ask him, like, I don't get the big deal, man. Like, I'm not coming here and telling anybody they're doing anything wrong. I'm just doing my thing. Like, I post on social media, but that's just what our generation does, right? That's what I've grown up on. And I don't know. It never made sense to me. It never really bothered me because I just rolled with it. It was like, whatever, man, you guys are going to be out of here soon. And, the younger generation is going to come up. And that's actually what's kind of happened now. Me and a bunch of other guys who we're taking all these classes, we're all promoted.
Yeah.
And so
Do
now
you
it's a completely different culture.
do you think that were they slugs? So like the people who were like the guys that were giving you a hard time, were the ones sitting in the recliners, or were they actually pretty active, but they just didn't like the fact that you were learning something outside the department? Or was it a mixture of both? Because there's the ones that are slugs, right? Like they just sit in that recliner and that's what they're happy about doing. And they don't want to learn anything other than just what they were taught out of the academy and what their department told them. And they're happy with just sitting there and doing their job and going home. And they don't need anybody to come in and tell them how the new way is. And sometimes they get threatened by you doing more. And so now you're triggering that insecurity because now you're better at them. And so the way they're going to deal with that is to lash out. It's jealousy, it's insecurity, but of course they're not going to say that. So they're just going to shit all over you for learning something new. Was it that kind of combination? Was it from the guys that were sitting in the recliners not doing anything, or were they actually active? They just didn't like the fact that you were learning something outside their department?
So I would say it was a little bit of both. I wouldn't say they were like literally sitting in the recliner,
Sure.
but this
Metaphorically.
particular, yeah, this particular individual physically couldn't do the job, but he was knowledgeable.
Gotcha.
And his way was like he knew the IFSTA book in and out. And it's like I teach Fire Academy now, you know, and it's like I hate to say it, but some of the IFSTA stuff's kind of a joke, dude. Like, you know, they put it, they're teaching to the lowest denominator, so I understand. But I guess what you could say, dude, is my whole mindset coming into the fire service. I guess I've always been kind of rogue, dude, and a free thinker. You know, I've never been a robot. Like, it used to annoy me when I was in Fire Academy and the instructors are saying, hey, we just have to teach you this so you pass the test. This isn't actually how you do it. But when you get on your respective department, they're going to show you the real way. And it's like, what the fuck?
Then why are you teaching me that?
Yeah,
dude, you're preaching to the
like
choir,
I said,
dude.
I'm an instructor now, and I literally have to do the same exact thing, and I hate it, but it's just a necessary evil
It
until
is,
eventually it
dude.
gets changed. But then the problem is, though, is you get these guys who get on the job, and that's all they know is what they learned in the fire academy, and they're not willing to learn anything else.
Yeah.
And then you got the senior guy who he's not even willing to demonstrate anything to you, but he's going to recite the IFSTA manual. It was a little bit of a mix of both. Like one of the guys that always give me shit, he was actually a really good fireman. So it was kind of more like just razzing, right? Like there was one time me and my buddy were at a conference and we were off. This particular officer got overtime. And then he posted on Facebook and tagged us and was like, hey, we had the Kissimmee Fire Conference here because they caught our first due worker in our zone that we would have been on. Of course, you know, I'm a young fireman. I'm like, man, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
But it was in good fun. But we did have a culture of, I think, like you said, and my lieutenant at the time, he kind of said the same thing. He's like, look, man, they're just threatened because they're not going to be able to bully you at training because you know what's going on and you can perform it.
Right.
So, because like this, you know, I've come to learn in my short time in the fire service that these characters are in every fire department. You're always going to have the guy who puts his side job over the fire department and he's running his side job at the department, right? You're always going to have the guy who can recite the IFSTA manual, but he won't go put his gear on and show you how to throw a ladder because he doesn't want to show you how out of shape he is.
I'm going to back up real quick. So you like the side gig, like you just said, that's a good point right there. So because of what we do, traveling a lot to conferences, and you're doing your hustle here, right? Rogue Firemanship. Right. We all got these little side projects. Ours are a little more prominent than others. Does people feel like you're putting this over your job? Do you feel like do you ever get any kind of blowback or any feedback of, hey man, you're really focusing more on your social media side of things, or hey man, you're kind of focusing more on traveling and going to these workout sessions or conferences. You probably want to focus more on doing this or focus more on your job. Have you ever gotten that?
No, I haven't. Because honestly, I don't really do much while I'm at work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I'll maybe do one social media post, or if somebody's texting me about workouts, obviously I'll just reply to them. But it's pretty. It doesn't, for me personally, it doesn't take as much time as you would think, and I do a lot of it off duty. Mm-hmm. So, but I have gotten comments like, you know, like just smart ass ones like, oh, is that Rogue? Or, you know, stuff like that. Cause to be honest, it's blown up a lot faster than I would have anticipated. So they give me shit, like basically saying I'm, what do they call me? Like a fire celebrity or whatever. I'm famous, fire famous. Like my battalion chief was giving me shit because I was in an active interview with the candidate and he's like, oh, I follow you on Instagram, like in this interview. And then my chief just starts laughing. And I'm very lucky, or they're all supportive. I haven't had to deal with anything like with admin saying, hey, you can't post that. But I also keep it in good taste, if that makes sense. Like I'm not bashing any department. I don't believe in bashing any departments or anything like that. And when I do talk about issues, I feel like I keep it pretty broad and it's stuff that everybody's dealing with. I'm not just singling out the issues in my department, if that makes sense. Because
no, that makes sense.
Like I said, I've come to realize that everybody has the same issues.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like that. I honestly, for me, all the hot button issues and topics that come up, I really try to stay out of it, especially for like other departments, whatever they're doing, whatever they didn't do, or there's a shit that's going on. Who am I to make a judgment? Who am I to blast them when I don't have the reports in front of me? I wasn't on that department. I wasn't on the call. Like, there's a lot that factors into it. And I am no master of anything. And the last thing I need to do is put my 2 cents because a fire department didn't make the grab or they didn't save the house or whatever the situation is. I wasn't there. I don't have the reports. I don't have the facts. I keep my mouth shut. I keep myself out of it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm the same way. Like, I don't know I don't know what that department staffing is.
Yeah.
Or like, perfect example, right? I saw a video the other day. I don't know where it's from, but the truck turns the corner and the officer's like, "Oh, cool." And then he gives a super smooth size up of a working house fire. And then he gives a size up, says, "Hey, next engine, take the plug." And then you see, and he goes to put his hood on. And then I look at the comments and everybody's like, "Why isn't your gear on?" Yada, yada. And then come to find out, they were coming back from a call and they rolled up on a working fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've just learned, dude, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. And you're never going to see me on my page bash any incident because I don't know the facts.
It's a tough world, man. It
Yeah.
really is. It's especially like training videos. I've had this conversation many times now, and man, we eat each other up. You post it and I post it. We talk about that a lot on our individual pages about how this world is amazing. Like we have this social media where we can give something so fantastic to so many people, education, workout plans, bringing your energy and who you are to New Hampshire via this platform. But when we do engagements of showing how to train, showing how to work out, man, there's with 10 positive people, there's 100 negative people shitting all over it because you didn't wear gloves when you're forced. Mitch Hunter, I love that dude. I love Fire Malls because his videos are literally making fun of those people who give him shit. Like, hey, you didn't wear your gloves and ear protection. Okay, cool. And he's wearing the booty shorts and, forcing the door. And it just cracks me up because he's like, dude, this is a training environment. This is just something to show you. Like, honestly, if we were doing a real world environment training or something that was going to be dangerous, obviously I'd be dressing correctly. But man, the outside people love to just rip us apart, anybody apart. And again, if somebody's recording, we're always fire calls. It's like a photo day, man. It is media day. If you got a good worker going on and people are recording it, you know what they're going to do? They're not going to worry about like how you position that truck and how amazing it was. If the guy came off the truck with no hood on, that's what somebody's going to see and give you shit. Not the fact that truck was positioned amazing and they forced the door, no problem. The dude wasn't wearing his gloves. Like that is that's the key, right? That's what you got out of that. So
yeah, well, it's so funny too because like I've smashed my finger before, doing forcible entry training. Like, you go to force it and your hand slips and you smash the door or whatever. Like, I was wearing a glove and it still hurt just as bad.
It's just as bad.
So like the gloves really aren't protecting you from getting your shit smashed,
Structural fire gloves are made to help you protect your hands against the heat and sharp things, not from smashing your finger.
Because I went to go gap the door, and it's a metal forcible entry door, and the ad slipped, and I fucking smashed my hand, and it hurt, dude. I was wearing gloves. It's like they don't protect you in that way,
No. So, with that, you said you talked about it before. You said you're kind of rogue. Is that how you developed your brand? And with the standards you want in place, what is the embodiment of Rogue Firemanship? What is it?
Yeah. So when I came up with it, I saw a quote for Rogue, and it was actually, I believe, from Mark Von Appen, from the Fully Involved Training. He's I want to say the chief in California, right?
He's retired now.
Retired. Okay. I was following a lot of his stuff, and his definition of rogue was like firmly adhering to one's purpose, regardless of, any outside factors and all that stuff. And that just always stuck with me. And that's kind of always been my life. I'm not the best at anything. I'm just an average dude, but I've always been a free thinker. Anybody who's done anything great or against the grain, like they were all rogues, right? Like, Albert Einstein, he was a rogue, right?
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln, he was a rogue. Benjamin Franklin, all those guys, George Washington, the dudes who dumped all the tea off the harbor for, because they were tired of getting taxed, like all that stuff. And then as far as like firemanship, I truly believe that it's a craft and it's an art, so I just put them together, and I thought it was a good name. I really liked it a lot. And I had Alec from Duke State Graphics make all my graphics.
I love Alec.
Just kind of took off from there. Yeah, it was kind of crazy. When I was making the company, I'm like, well, I need to find a graphics guy. So I literally just type in fire graphics on the Instagram search, and his page popped up, and it was like a newer page. I don't, I think he was just doing stuff for like himself. Like he just made his, uh, his Duke graphic, you know?
Yeah.
He only had like a few posts. So I messaged him like, "Hey man, my name's Logan. I'm from Florida. I'm starting a new company. I'm like, do you do commissions?" And he's like, "Oh, I've never really done them yet, but tell me what you got." And so I told him, and he made my the first logo he made was the boxer logo, and then the Lockwood logo, and then I just took off from there. So I
It's
like
awesome.
a few months would go by, I'd get another wild idea like, hey man, can you make this happen? And he would, and because I'm the type of dude. I'm like, I don't want to be a pain in the ass. I know how hard it is to make a design. So I'm
Yeah.
like, but I'm like, hey, can you just tweak this here? But it was awesome because I think we kind of have the same mindset. We both kind of come from like that skater, like punk rock, background, and we just kind of jived really well. And honestly, it wasn't a lot of like back and forth. He would just send me a design, like, oh yeah, dude, I like that. Just let's roll with it. And it was crazy. I didn't even know he was colorblind. So like he's
It's
making these
it's
badass graphics
I
and
love his
colorblind.
artwork. I'm the same way though. Like now, like I love what he did for me, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh boy, he's gonna regret ever teaming up with me because I'm always shooting him ideas. Hey, can you do this? Hey, what about that? And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm super busy, but I'll see what I can do. And I just want a humble, amazing guy to deliver such great work, and he stays true to his craft, and it's very him. And I really love that. Like anybody who sees his artwork, that's going to be Alec Davis. That's Duke State, and I absolutely think that's fantastic. And I love your whole image, the Rogue firemanship. Like you said, it's like, Ben Franklin being Rogue and George Washington being Rogue and the Boston Tea Party. And I think honestly, as in the fire ship for me, your method, your statement, I take that as well. Stay rogue of doing the right thing, staying rogue of speaking up for other people. That's how I embody that. It's not just, I think some people get, I'm not speaking for you, but for me, I find it as doing something against the grain, doing something that's right, doing something that you're not going with the status quo. If someone's picking on somebody, or if somebody needs help, mentally, physically, or they're not getting something, instead of standing there and pointing at them because everybody else is doing that, you can step forward and be that person and help them throw that ladder. Show them a better way to dress up. Show them a better way just to be a good person. Be rogue and stand out in the crowd and don't be a sheep. And I love your message of
Yeah,
what you do with
100%.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I was blessed because back in high school, I was put in a leadership role. I was the captain of the wrestling team, and part of that was you had to like you're the more senior guy on the team. You had to teach the freshmen, coming in the moves,
Mm,
and it was just kind of natural, like kind of how fire service teaching is. You explain what it is, the name of the move, like, hey, this is a double leg takedown. Then you demonstrate it, and as you're demonstrating it, you're breaking it down. And then you're like, here's the finish. And then you're like, all right, now go rep it out. And like I said, it used to annoy me when I would come on and you got some dude who won't even demonstrate it for you, trying to tell you how to do it. And then if you don't get it right, it's like, you're a dumbass.
yeah.
And it's like, well, how about you show me, man?
Yeah. Or
And
like, man, it kills me too. Cause like, or the yelling part of it. And I'm very key on that. That's one of my sticklers. So, one of my things I don't like to when I see in the fire service is instructors who just can't seem to break it down. And the only way they can get it out is by screaming and yelling. And you're not going to get anything done. That person's just going to shut down.
yeah, there's definitely a time and a place. But definitely not like when you're teaching. If you're trying to do maybe some stress inoculation and you're in a scenario, that's you could throw that in there. It's not necessarily my style. My crew knows, dude, if I yell, like you really fucking piss me off. I'm more like I guess my style is more like I'm more of a smart ass and like quippy,
Sure.
Like if you got me yelling, like you really piss me off. So, I'll be like, "Are you kidding me, dude?" Like that's kind of my tone. Like I'm not if I'm yelling, it's bad. Because like I said, I have a young crew. I got two probies right now. One guy just got off probation, and then the next tier of firemen, they have like 5, 6 years on. Then it's me and my driver. I have 10 on the department. He has 11, and we're the senior guys.
Gotcha.
So super, like in my mind, that's a super young crew. I really shouldn't even be in the lieutenant seat with how many years I have on. I feel like in my mind, but it's just the way our department is.
Sure.
So, um, but it's like trying to connect with these young guys. it's sometimes challenging, man.
I bet.
Because it's me and my best friend were just talking about it. He's the driver on our tower truck. Like my generation, I'm a millennial, right? So like, why? Like, I don't care if people ask me why we do this or why we do that, because I get it. Like, that's how I'm wired too. Like, I want to know why. Why do you force a door like that? Like, why is the mechanical advantage 15-1? Why is it? Why is it solid? Why is the Halligan a solid piece of steel? You know. But we were kind of talking like it seems like this next generation coming up, they don't really care about the why. And if they're not good at it right away, then they don't care. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've been having some of the same
Not
difficulties, but
really. Like the younger guys
yeah,
so far, I've been, man, I
because
like,
my proby's 19, so it's like
so that's the thing is I
yeah,
have, we have some young kids that just came on. I think he's 18, 19 years old. And I gotta say, he's been pretty good with wanting to know. He asks me questions all the time. I'm not even in the same shift with him, but dude, he is dialed in. He loves to ask me questions. I'll tell him about books I'm reading and trainings that I'm into, and he'll look it up, and then he'll text me about questions. Hey, why is it this or why is it that? Like the 30 Fires You Must Know. He's reading that book, and he had questions about it. It was like, that's great. He's reading it and he's asking questions about it, and he's dialed in, and he's still asking why. And I have yet to meet some other young kids. Our people coming in right now are in their 20s, so they're not as young. Some of them are laterals, and some of them are just completely brand new into the fire service. So I think they're a little more nervous and scared than anything else because they just don't want to screw up. So we have a real welcoming environment, but I'm curious to see how the next generation's going. But since we talk about generational firefighters, do you feel it's gotten better? I feel it's good. Like honestly, like people like, there's been this whole mixture of the fire service is lacking or the standards are lacking. But I think the new kids coming in, even though it's a social media world, we are in the social media world. I see everybody on their phones, everything else, whether they're 50 years old or 20, I still see guys on their phone. But I see the younger kids still really engaged and want to do it. Sometimes you got to kick them in the ass a little bit and say, get off the phone and I want to show you something. But once you do that, dude, they're dialed in and they want to work. Once you get them going, it's like that locomotive. Like once they're rolling, like they don't want to stop. Do you feel the same way?
yeah. I mean, I don't really have any issues as far as like trying to get them off the phone or anything. Yeah. Well, funny, quick little story. This same Proby, I caught him playing a video game at the kitchen table, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me, dude? You're playing a video game right now, and you got 3 months on." And then it just turned into like, "All right, let's go over the engine." And I'm like, "Hey, you better know where this stuff is on the engine if you're playing video games." And to his credit, he did. He's a super
Nice.
smart kid. So, but just busting balls like that. For me personally, I guess just because a lot of the stuff I do, I just lead by example. It's been pretty easy. Like I just say, hey, like I'm going out to go do a workout in the bay if anybody wants to join me. Or even sometimes I don't even have to say anything. I'm just walking out there and they're like, hey, you about to go work out? Like, yeah, man, come join me if you want. Like, you don't
That's
have
great.
to. But, and then as far as like training, because they have a Proby book, so they're pretty much asking me every day, like, hey, can we go over this? And some days I have to tell them, like, hey, look, like, it's just not going to happen today. I would like to, but with how calls are going and other stations are out of service, like, we'll
Yeah,
get a next shift. But yeah, I would say that hasn't been too bad.
that's awesome.
I've been, like I said, I've been super blessed, and I don't know if maybe it's just my leadership style, if that's been helping me. I've always been kind of like the motivator on whatever crew I was on, even as a fireman or an engineer. So
That's great, man. Now I'm looking at your page and we talked about standards. We were talking about who you are and the mission statement of Rogue. And I'm looking at now, I think you could see as well, hopefully.
yep,
And Rogue Firemanship was founded as an outlet for a continued pursuit of a positive performance driven culture. Our products and programs represent our philosophy of being mentally and physically resilient. We detest all forms of complacency and mediocrity. Stay rogue anytime, anywhere. That is a great mission statement. And you still obviously live by that. And then you're talking about your Proby. Is that something that you deliver at work as well? Is that your whole crew? Is that something you really instill on them?
yeah. So I'm not as, I guess, like that's a pretty aggressive, I would say, mission statement. I wouldn't say I'm as aggressive with them on the
Sure.
crew. I sat them all down, and then as I get new guys, I sit them down. I have a quick little expectations talk, and honestly, I keep it super simple. I kind of follow like the four pillars of Jared Sergey, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
He's I think he's a captain or a chief now for Norfolk. But I read his company officer book, and I liked a lot of his style and the four pillars. I kind of just turned into my own. So the four pillars I tell my guys is, look, first expectation is be ready. And what does that mean? That means you show up to work on time or technically early. Our shift changes at 7:30. I tell the new guys you got to be here by at least 7. And the rest of the crew, obviously, they're here usually pretty early. Be in uniform, make sure your equipment's ready to go because you never know when the tones are going to drop, right? And
Love it.
then the second one is be professional, which that pretty much goes without saying, right? You're gonna when we're on calls, I don't care if it's 3 a.m. and you think it's a bullshit call, like we get paid to deal with that. And look professional is the third one. And, I kind of tell them, like, I'm not a uniform Nazi. Like, when we're at the station, I don't really necessarily care what you're wearing. If you don't have your department PT shorts and you just wear some shorts so you can work out, like, I'm not going to gig you on that. Like, I'd rather you work out than not be in your
Right.
PT uniform shorts. But when the tones drop, shirt tucked in, hat forward, like, look professional. I'm
Yeah.
pretty big on that. And then the last one I tell them is just take care of each other.
I love
And,
it.
as far as that goes, like, hey, one person's going to cook dinner for the crew. We all take turns, figure it out. I don't care if you don't know how to cook. I always joke, I say, hey, look, you have this little machine of knowledge, right? Like this sweet machine of knowledge. You can look up a Pinterest recipe, look up easy firehouse meal. You can, figure something out. And, don't fuck each other over onto the ambulance. Like, they're really good about that. They don't.
That's great.
But I just keep it simple, man. And I feel like that kind of takes care of itself. Going back to being ready, that encompasses training, fitness, all that. Kind of give them like a little, not a speech, but I just talk to them kind of how I'm talking to you, and I
Hmm.
ask if they have any questions for me. And then I tell them, like, hey, next shift, if you want, like, give me some of your expectations. I say, I don't expect you to ask, or I say, I don't expect you to give me your expectations right now because I'm sure you've never been asked that. So I usually give them a shift to come back, and they come back. It's usually pretty much what I asked of them. And then a big one that I've been asked is to, like, look out for them as far as like departmental stuff, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Like to fight for them.
Yeah.
But I told them, and that's the other thing too. I tell them in my expectations that I kind of steal a quote that I saw, and it's the rules are never more important than the mission.
Hmm.
And I truly do believe that. And I tell them at the end of the day, if whatever you do is right, I'm going to back you up 100%.
Love it.
Because policies aren't always black and white. We
Yeah.
live in the gray sometimes. But if you are late or you lie or you do something that I can't defend, like, you're on your own. That's my big thing. I say, don't lie, obviously, don't cheat, don't steal. Those are non-negotiables because I can't back that up. But,
Yeah.
if you break a policy to save somebody or whatever the case is or make a difference, like, for instance, we're not necessarily allowed to have riders in the ambulance, but there's certain situations where you gotta let the family member ride, right? And
Hmm.
it's like, what's the better customer service? Or another one I've been told before, which is not written anywhere, but I've been told we're not allowed to reset fire alarms.
Okay.
But when you're at an apartment complex and it's 3 a.m. and you got hundreds of people standing outside and they're trying to go back to bed, like, what would I want if my wife and daughter run an apartment?
Yeah.
I would want the fire department to just reset the alarm if there's no emergency, because we all know these fire alarms, they get trouble alarms and all kinds of stuff, and there's no issue. It's just they need to get the alarm serviced. The emergency contact's not coming out because it's 3 a.m. on a Saturday night, like, so just stuff like that.
Just do the right thing.
Yeah, do the right thing.
Yeah, man. I like it.
So
Now, we're going to talk about the other programs that you're a part of. You are a part of the Crucible with Spera and Marcos. And how did you come about that? And I touched on it with Marcos a while back. So how did you team up with all of them? How did you get involved with them?
So we had kind of just been like in a group chat together and just been sharing ideas and workouts back and forth. And John was helping me and Marcos kind of spread awareness of our page and has been super instrumental on that because obviously the Fit to Fight Fire page has been been a pretty popular page now for many years. And he kind of like, I think he called us. He called me one day and was like, "Hey man, what do you think about a class where we do 12 workouts in 24 hours?" And he's like, "I'm thinking about calling it the Crucible." And I'm like, "I mean, I don't know, dude, but I'm in." I can't remember if Marcos said how I felt, but they wanted to do it in Denver, and I was super, super worried because of the elevation.
Yeah.
I had never experienced elevation before. So we went and we trialed it to make sure it was something doable and that we can taper the volume to be appropriate so that somebody really gets something out of the class. And like I said, it was kind of John's idea. Me and Marcos were like, hell yeah. It kind of scared me a little bit, which is a good thing. And we had our first class back in May. And it was in my opinion, I think it was very successful. We had 19 start, I believe, and 17 graduated.
That's really good. That's
And,
awesome.
We just actually did a quick little podcast last night to have some of those guys come on and share their experience, which John, I think, should be releasing that soon to kind of help spread some awareness of the class. But it was one of the best experiences of my career so far, man, just being part of that, seeing these guys just push through what they thought what their limitations were, and then seeing them come out on the other side, with that experience. And it changed, you could tell it changed some of them. And it was just super humble. I was super humbled, honestly, to be part of it and to witness that and to encourage them. It's a completely different environment than some of these other classes. It's nothing but an environment of encouragement and love and care, but there is a standard. You still have to meet the standard, and we do keep it safe. So, like, if you're having a medical issue, like, we're not going to let you push on, because it's not worth hurting yourself or going into rhabdo over, but it's been awesome, man. And I'm hoping it grows. We're going to have our second class in October,
Okay.
and we're going to see how it goes.
And
But
because
like I
I
said,
know
it was John's idea because I don't know if I would have ever thought of anything that crazy. And him and Marcos have been super instrumental in helping me out with my page and with this class. And, John, like the stuff he writes is just amazing. So I just kind of try to learn from him and try to emulate some of that stuff. And, it's just super important to have a tribe. And you got to have
dude,
people in
love
your
that.
tribe that like tell you how it is. They're not going to sugarcoat anything, but they're doing it out of love and they're going to push you to be better.
I love it, dude. You absolutely 100%. The tribe, I can't agree enough with that. I have been very fortunate to develop my own tribe, and it keeps growing. And it's the same circles that we run in. And I got to meet John in person at the Bears of the Oath conference, and what an inspirational man. And I loved listening to what he had to say and his story, and he's just so inspiring. And you've nailed it though with the knowing who you're going to have in your tribe, knowing who you can trust, who's there to build you up, not to tear you down and not to hold you back. And when you find those people, you hold on to them for dear life, and you know that they're going to be there for you. And sometimes work is work. We do have the people that we work with and we love, but at the same time, some of these people in these other circles that we have, I've found out that they really do care about you, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to be good in life. And I love that you found that tribe for yourself. And it sounds like it's going really well, especially with that Crucible. I heard good things about it. I saw that Edgar and Bryson were part of that they killed it. They had a lot of fun.
Yeah, those guys are studs, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was just amazing to see them push through. So when we did it, it was in October and it had just snowed. So the weather was 30 degrees. When we did it in May, I think the weather was like 85, 90 at some points in the class. So it was completely different environment. We were straight up with them about that. We had to make some adjustments based on that just for the safety of them in the class. But yeah,
That's
man,
awesome.
it's like I said, dude, it's awesome meeting those people. You get a certain type of person that signs up for a class like that,
Yes, you're right. They're there for a certain mission, and that's
Right.
fantastic. And just to hit on too, because you've done, obviously you're a smoke diver. You completed that program. That is an amazing feat that not everyone could brag about. So the fact that you and Marcos are both smoke divers, and bringing something like the Crucible is just so different but the same, if that makes any sense for the smoke divers. Like you have that standard, that you're there to develop and make people better. But I love that it's like it's more, I guess I haven't done both, so I can't say, but it seems like it's the Crucible's more of that nurturing environment, if you will. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I would say it's probably way different than like a smoke diver type program. They both obviously have a standard, but their way of doing things is a little different than our way, and there's nothing right or wrong about that. It's just
Yeah.
the way they do it. And then we just wanted to do something different. We kind of felt like there's enough classes that put that type of stress on you. We wanted to do something a little different. And our motto was the work is stress enough. And also we put a little twist on it. You didn't know what workout you were about to complete until 15 minutes before the workout started. We put it up
Okay.
on a whiteboard 15 minutes before the workout was going to begin. So from a candidate side, you had no idea what was coming.
That's awesome.
So, and yeah, we wanted something a little different, something that people could do that wasn't like a smoke diver type class.
Yeah.
And
because you got to, I mean, I got to talk to Chief Rhodes, and he delivered a presentation to the cadets about the smoke diver program, and it's insane the prep work that goes on for that. I mean, that's like you're preparing like a year beforehand, you just mentally and physically. And this program sounds, obviously you're still preparing, but you're not having to dedicate your whole year of your life to try to really make sure you're making it for that program. So do you have, so you said it's coming up again, and it's going to be in Denver again?
Yep, it's always going to be in Denver because
Okay.
we have a really good relationship with South Adams Fire Department. They let us do it at their facility, and then Marcos and John both live right outside of Denver.
Okay.
So just logistically, it's just easier that way. I could fly out there, and because we've been asked to do it at some conferences, but we've decided that we're just going to keep it in Denver, and it's logistically would be way too hard to do at a conference.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, and what's the limit? Is it 18? You said you had 18 in there in that group, or is it 19? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had 19. We haven't decided on a final number yet. We're going to increase the number though for this next class. It was just the first time we did the class, like this first class, there was only 3 of us, and we're allowing, if you graduate, you can come back and help out and give back to the program. So we'll have more help now. That's why we felt comfortable adding more people this time.
All right.
Because and that was the other thing too, is we were doing the workouts with them while in the class. So we would take turns. Me, John, and Marcos would alternate. But then if you weren't doing the workout, you were running logistics for the class. And for 2 people, it was a lot.
That is a lot.
And then you're like, all right, I'm up next. Do the workout. You recover real quick, and then you're running logistics again. You're making sure everybody's doing okay. And we made it. We made it an environment of like, hey, yeah, we're the instructors, but like we're not above you. We're here with you. Like, come up to us, talk to us. Like any questions you have. Like we were in the same bay as them. Like they had 24/7 access to us.
That's
throughout
awesome.
the class, and it was
That's great.
one of a kind experience for sure. Like I've gone through F.L.A.M.E.S as well. That was a 48-hour experience, and that was a great program as well. But it was also unique in its own way, and we're just trying to make something unique and have something for people to keep training for. As much as I like to say I'm disciplined, I'm also the type of guy that I have to be training for something.
Yeah.
Like I have to have some sort of goal that I'm aiming for, if that makes sense. Even if it's just like if it's a fitness competition over here, or I decide like, oh, I'm gonna go run 32 miles for my birthday. Like, all right, I gotta have something, if that makes sense. I can't just, I mean, I can, but I don't know if I have like ADD, but I gotta have some like ADD with my training. I'm not ADHD like with my life, but like I gotta have some sort of focus and a goal for the type of training I want to do, or else I get bored.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Now-
all like scatterbrained, and I'm doing a little bit of everything, and I'm like, I need to focus in on what I want to do.
With your workouts and how you prep, because you do some really amazing workouts. And again, I follow you. I love seeing your workouts. I love seeing your little girl working out with you. That was fantastic. I mean, you develop quite a following of great workouts because they're easy but not simple. And that you can do them. You just have to work hard at it. When you're doing your workouts, do you use any certain supplements? Because I just had 48 straight on, and John Chambliss, he was talking about his programs and his his line of supplements. Do you use any? Do you do any like proteins? Do you use creatine? Do you use pre-workouts, or are you all natural and just eat right and just hydrate?
Yeah, so my big thing is electrolytes. That's the main supplement that I use. Because I'm a sweater and I cramp up pretty easily. And as of right now, I'm not using creatine just because I've been in gear a lot and I'm doing a lot more endurance and body weight type workouts. So to me, the creatine is not really worth it because it makes me cramp.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm just like before I started prepping, I'm going back to Florida Smoke Diver again this year. But before I was prepping for that, I was like lifting and getting back into some strength training and hypertrophy. I was using creatine. And then as far as protein, I'll just buy like the Fairlife pre-made 30-gram protein shakes just because they're easy, and then real food. And that's pretty much the only supplements I use. I
Nice.
keep it simple. I don't really use pre-workout. I like energy drinks, so that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of my little vice. So I'll do an energy drink, in the morning, and if it happens to be before my workout, that's before my workout, and then electrolytes.
Nice. All right. I love it. Keep it simple. Very, very cool. Man, I appreciate it, dude. And now, are you going to any other conferences? Or is there anything else lined up for you? Or are you kind of just sticking close to home?
Yeah, so in September, I'm flying with Marcos out to Oklahoma to the Midwest Fools Convention. They have a little 2-day conference going on. We're going to give a lecture the first day, and then we're going to do a SCBA confidence class the second day.
Nice.
And then in October, I'll be going to the Ancient City Fire Expo, and same thing, doing a SCBA confidence class there. We did it for the first time last year, and it came out pretty good. So we're going back, doing it again for 2 days out there, and also the Crucible in October.
Wow. Awesome, man.
So
Speaking of the
pretty
SCBA
busy.
confidence, I love that video that you posted, dude. Yeah, and you're busy, man. You're wicked
Yeah.
busy. And you got a lot going on, but I was going to touch on the SCBA uh, video that you posted. That was a good one, dude. I really liked that very much. Um, it's a good thing to practice, and it generated a lot of views. And I love you bringing that to the table because not a lot of people do that. And it's a hard drill to do, is doing a hot swap out like that. That was really cool.
Yeah, especially because obviously a lot of people now have the quick connects,
Yeah.
which we do as well. We switched to Draeger and we got the quick connects for those, but just a little it was an older video, but I just reposted it kind of just to basically just create discussion because I know a lot of people are against the hot bottle swaps. And I'm not denying, I don't think it's the most practical drill anymore. It's an old school drill, but I think it still has relevance because it's making you understand your air pack and be able to operate it under stress. And by stress, I mean you're holding your breath.
Yeah, that's what I'm
There's
saying.
nothing
It's a
more
lot of
stressful than that.
that is a lot of
So,
breath control, man. You
and it's
really have
safe
to hold your breath for a while
because
to do
worst
that.
case, if you feel like you can't breathe, then you just break the seal on your mask, right? When you're practicing in the bay. Now I know back in the day, like the old school smoke diver courses, they used to make you do it under like real smoke, but it's just like I said, it's just an old school drill because I got in an argument with somebody about it online and I'm like, you're not seeing my point, but whatever. And my point was just know your air pack because it's pretty amazing how many people don't really understand how their air pack works. If you have an emergency, the different types of emergencies, like what should you do? Wheel breathing. A lot of people don't
I
understand
was
what wheel
just going to
breathing
talk about
is.
that, man. I literally was just going to
And
bring up wheel breathing, and because I never actually got to practice that drill until I went to the Dadgum Fire Conference, and Chris Snow was leading that class on that, and that opened up my world, man. And I was like, man, we need to do more of that shit because that is a skill that is a lost art, and if you don't do it, if you don't practice it, it's a great thing to know. It's a great piece of life safety training to have in your back pocket when shit hits the fan. Wheel breathing, man, is that is a awesome thing to know how to do.
I do it during my air consumption drills now because Basil from Orlando and Proactive Rescue
Yeah.
Operations, he showed us that you can basically, he calls it active wheel breathing, and it's called active because you're actively moving. You shut your bottle down until like a quarter turn or whatever you need to get some air. And when you breathe your bottle, it'll be your lower alarm will be going off, right? But then when you take a breath in, it shuts the low air alarm off. And then as you're breathing out, it builds it back up. and it actually saves you a ton of air because it's not the low air alarm's not just free flowing.
Mm.
So like for Scott, right, we all know it's a vibe alert, and they say it's a closed circuit. They say it when your low air alarm's going off, it comes back through the regulator, right? But the problem is when it comes through your regulator and it's activating that vibe alert, it's just free flowing in your mask. So it's not on demand. It's not on demand. So you're losing air,
Right.
right? I don't know the exact amount, but it is. You can't if you have a third of your bottle left. That's not a true third, if that makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
Versus
Because
if
it's
you
still
read
blowing in your face. Yeah.
it's still blowing in your face. So you shut that bottle down. Now you're basically controlling it's on demand when you get that air,
Yes, sir.
and it's not as bad. And I've been able to get like an extra 8 to 10 minutes out of my bottle by doing that. So, and you're
Wow.
able to move instead of just sitting in a corner waiting for somebody to get you, which there's obviously a time and a place for that, but it was just a different way of doing it. And like I said, Basil kind of showed us all that. And now I implement that in my SCBA classes. I help them. I help them with the one bad tour class. There's a survival section there where we talk about it and show the students that as well. And like I said, I've been super blessed, man. I've taken a lot of classes. I've been pretty big into survival stuff. So I've had a lot of knowledge dumped onto me, and I just try to share it because for a while I used to
Yeah.
assume that people knew this stuff. Like I'm at the Orlando Fire Conference going over wheel breathing, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna be able to brush over it, and people are like, "Oh, I've never heard of that," and it's like, that's crazy. But I've just been blessed, so I just try to share it as
I
well.
love it. I love it, dude. And it's funny that you say that. I feel the same way. I love firefighter survival. I love RIT. I really like, again, I revert to Dadgum and learning from Rob, learning from Basil. Man, I love listening to those guys. I love hearing what they have to give for information, and the hands-on stuff is amazing. When I come back, I'm like, I start talking about those things, and everyone's like, I don't, not everyone, but a lot of people are like, I don't know what you're talking about, or I've never looked at it that way. And so I was like, wow, this is awesome. I learned something completely new that I can bring back and start focusing on and enhancing our skills to be better and harder to kill. So it's great to be able to, like, that's why I go to these conferences too, man. I love learning this new information. I love absorbing all that material from guys who do their homework and who really do care and have the passion to make us safer and better. Yeah, it's key to get outside that area code and learn from people that that can give something new and exciting to all of us. So that's cool. That I love that you're just like a sponge, just like I am, and just want to absorb it all and give it back to somebody else.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I've been blessed.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Well, man, thank you so much, Logan. This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you. Is there anything that you want to say or anything you needed to plug before we wind up here?
Yeah, because I think you said you wanted me to talk about my workout programs, which I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah,
bad about.
please.
I'm really
Yeah.
bad about marketing myself, so I'll just do it because I know you wanted me to. Um, but yeah, so I kind of came up with the workout programs because I realized there wasn't really a lot of stuff out there at the time for firemen. Like they would say a program is for firemen, but then it's a workout in the gym in the AC, and it's your typical like bodybuilder or bro split. Which there's definitely a time and a place for that. Like you definitely need to be strong to do this job, but you also need to have a gas tank and also get in gear because your gear is the almighty equalizer. So I came up with a 12-week fitness program. It's a PDF. It's called the Rogue Operator. And then I just recently came out with a second version because people were asking me for a second version. And I kind of refined it and made it a little bit, I think, in my opinion, a little bit better than the first one. The first one had a lot of volume. The second one, I kind of tried to focus more on some strength stuff and percentages, and then also some running and then gear workouts to kind of make you like an all around athlete or like a hybrid athlete. And also, I have one-on-one training. If people don't feel like that's enough, I do one-on-one training for people as well, where it's just custom programming for them.
And this
And
is
I,
the
I
program here, the Rogue Operator program. That's 12-week firefighter fitness.
yeah. So if you scroll up and you go, keep going. If you go to workout programs there, I'll have everything. Scroll back down, right there on the right, workout programs.
Oh, right here. Okay,
Yep.
there it is.
And then that's all of them.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay. And you got your decks, you got the
yep.
12-week fitness program. I like the 30 days of dumbbells workout. That's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, you got some really great stuff on
Yeah, and
here.
I try to keep it affordable because I know us firemen we don't make the most.
Yeah.
So I figured $100 for 24 weeks of programming. It's not too shabby, or you can get the workout decks. A lot of people have been liking those because they take them to the firehouse. and they've been working out with their crews, or like a 30-day dumbbell only. Like if you got limited equipment, just some dumbbells. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, it's for firemen. So because I'm really, like I said, I'm really big on getting in gear, especially like you said up there in the hot summer months. Like it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It's no joke. So
That's awesome. And you got great swag on your store. So if anybody's interested, like I said, we're both wearing hats. I love my Rogue hats. I wear my, my Rogue hat, the other one, what's the word I'm looking for? It's got the patch on it, the Rogue,
oh, the trucker hat?
the boxer hat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an OG hat, man.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
one of the first ones I came out with.
That's as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I need it. And that's my workout hat. That's what keeps me going. So that's why I wear at the gym every day is my Rogue hat. And I got to show you before we leave, because I had to get your permission before we did it. So I didn't
dude, that came out sick.
I got my crotch right up in there. So I had to get my Rogue tattoo. It just like, it hit me like everything
Dude,
you're saying.
It's been crazy, man, because you got the boxer, and then I had another guy, he got my skateboard one, the firemanship's not a crime, but he got the skater guy. But still, I mean, that's, for somebody to get a tattoo of one of my logos, it's pretty humbling, because I don't even have one yet.
I did. It was like,
So,
I want to get another thigh piece. I love, again, your message that you bring. Your image just really hit home to me, and I changed it a little bit. Like I've got my badge number on there and the tattoos. I didn't make it exactly that, because everyone's
I like
original.
That you made it.
Exactly.
I like that you made it for you, man. That's awesome.
Stay rogue, right? Stay different.
Yeah.
Stay out there, and that's what I really wanted to encompass. And now I have it on my flesh, and I'm happy to promote your word, your standards, and what you're doing. So I love the fact that you got workout programs on your website. So if anyone's listening or watching, go on Instagram. He has a website available. It's linked in on his Instagram pages. Look at the Crucible. If you're curious about it, reach out to Logan. He's happy to answer any questions for you. Marcos Orozco, John Spera. Also, some of the dudes who took it too. If you know anybody who took these classes, hit them up. Like Bryson Hugh, Edgar Ponce. Those are two guys who are studs. They do this stuff all the time. And maybe one day I can get to Colorado when things slow down, and I can do it as well. I'd love to meet you in person. I don't think we've actually ever met in person.
No, not yet.
No, we haven't. I would recognize that mustache anywhere. So, so that's great, man. Thank you so much for being on the C.A.N Report. I really appreciate you. I love the work you're doing, and I love that you're just keeping it old school, keeping it natural, and just giving something back to all of us. And that really means a lot. And that's why I promote you and spread your word and spread the gospel. Thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you're checking out Logan Broberg. The Rogue Firemanship is no joke. He's here for us. He's here for the mission. Check him out. I appreciate you all for tuning into the C.A.N Report. You all stay safe. Love you. Mazel tov.
Thanks for having me on, man.
My pleasure, my friend.